Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel. I'm going to talk today about the full moon in Capricorn. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about the full moon in Capricorn is because this is the first full moon after the summer solstice, and on the Julian calendar, and which is older than our current Gregorian calendar. Basically, the dates of the quarter and cross-quarter festivals are roughly, I think it's something like 10 to 12 days later on the Gregorian calendar, that's our current calendar, than they would have been on the Julian calendar. So there are many that are of the opinion that basically our true festivals, if you like, would be 10 to 12 days later than they currently are, which would mean that basically you know, a lot of our, not only would a lot of our festival dates change, but it's very interesting to have a look at what holidays and festivals are around those kind of dates. Now, if we look at the summer solstice, that would roughly be around now, which in America is Independence Day. As many of you will know, the American Constitution and a lot of the founding fathers in America were Freemasons. They had a lot of esoteric knowledge. I'm not, you know, sticking up for Freemasons or supporting it in any way, but I'm just saying that they did have a lot of esoteric knowledge that was coded into a lot of how they could set the country up, but that's maybe a topic for another video. But basically, the summer solstice, you could argue, is really technically around now. And today, well, yes, last night we had the full moon in Capricorn. So not only is the sun at its peak for the year, but also the moon is at its maximum strength because it's in its own sign of Cancer. Well, the new moon was in its own sign of Cancer, and it's full expression now. But obviously, the full moon is always in the opposite sign, so that's in Capricorn. So I wanted to talk a bit about that because this is a very, very potent time of year, and I think it gets a bit unfairly maligned, really, because many of the other festivals, such as Beltane or Samhain or, you know, Yule, Christmas, they're very, very popular. But whereas Midsummer, especially in Britain, tends to sort of fall under the radar a bit and isn't really, just sort of passes by without much fanfare, which I think is a shame. If we look back to the religious traditions of summer solstice, there's I think it's the it's basically the celebration of, I can't remember if it's John the Baptist or John the Apostle, but basically it's one of the, just after, I think it's St John's Eve, which I think is on the 24th of June, and basically it was traditionally celebrated with a bonfire. These bonfires are very common, and a St John's fire was basically a combination between a bonfire and a traditional wood fire, and that was how it used to be celebrated. There's also a lot of imagery around birds. It falls in with basically the roughly, I think a lot of what was celebrated at Pentecost or Whitsun was tied up with the summer solstice celebrations. A lot of that is, the imagery around that is to do with birds or the Holy Spirit coming down from heaven and basically helping the disciples to speak in tongues, giving them all these healing abilities. And I think it gives us an important clue as to what the summer solstice really is about, because from what I can gather, the summer solstice is basically, it's an infusion of light. It is not just physically but metaphysically as well. It's about an infusion of light into the self from the sun, which energizes us to continue the work of the year. And the work of the year can be literally anything, but whether you like it or not, you will be developing something this year. Even if it's you've been having a very difficult time, you're going through some trials and tribulations, there is still something being grown there. You may not see it right now, but there will be something being grown there. So it's important to remember that whatever is happening for you, this summer solstice is a period of immense power and energy, where this light via the sun is infused into the land and gives it this ripening power, which is the power to finish growing what has been conceived and grown throughout the year, and for it to basically take form in our world, which will happen at harvest. So that's the solar aspect of it. Now the lunar aspect of it is very interesting, because you have the full moon in Capricorn, and Capricorn is a sign again of building, so it ties in quite nicely with that, really, if you think about it. It's about establishing a particular structure in the world. So if you do know your own birth chart, it'd be a really good idea to look at where Capricorn falls in your birth chart, because that will be the house that is being activated at the moment. Capricorn can be about wealth, particularly generational wealth, and also career and structure, but more than that, it's about manifesting, and it's about manifesting over time. It's about manifesting the kind of life that you want to live. It's about manifesting, you know, it is like a very big picture kind of sign. What do you want the end of your life to look like? That energy is really potent at the moment, and in particular the house area where Capricorn and or Saturn falls in your chart. Saturn is I'm quite fond of Saturn, really, because again, he gets a bad rap. He is a harsh teacher. Capricorn in our chart can be a place of austerity, of difficulty, of basically kind of like harsh or hard conditions. And it's not that it's you know, it's meant to be difficult. It's a period. It's basically a tribulation. It's a skill to master that area of life that's afflicted and represented. It's something that we have come here to master, and Saturn can be very hard on us sometimes. Some of the lessons that he can deliver can be really brutal, and very difficult to deal with, but at the end of it we are always better off for having learnt them. So I think the key with Saturn and Capricorn is just to, as much as you can, embrace what is being brought up at this time, and just to try and look at the bigger picture. And also just think about, because this period, this quarter day now will take us all the way up to Harvest Festival in September. So this is a time now where we're finishing off growing, ripening. I call it the ripening stage of what we've been doing for the past year. So think about now how you're going to not only ripen your crop, so to speak, but how you're going to bring it all home, how you're going to tie it all together, how you're going to bring it into the world, how are you going to integrate it into your life. Okay, so that's kind of what's going on at the moment. It's a connection with the upper world. It's an infusion of spirit from the upper world to really push that last growth part of the year into fruition. Okay, so that's all I've got to say about the summer solstice. I may do another video on calendars and time, because these sort of time manipulations, they do really affect us. So I might do another video on the Gregorian calendar and the Julian calendar, and things like that, and how we can live more within a time that works for us. But anyway, if that's all I've got to say for now. So if you enjoyed the video, please think about sharing and subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Thanks very much. Bye.